Welcome everyone. In this video we will be talking about the applications of the formula index along with that of match. Now before I get into the technicalities, I will like to discuss the business side of the problem that you might face with data that could be large enough, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 rows with several different columns. Okay, now in this given scenario I have one small database which is very similar to the one that we used while discussing VLOOKUP with match or VLOOKUP in the level 1 of the section. In this case I have an additional column besides mobile number and name of the employee, that's the ID code. Now I have randomly chosen certain ID codes for which I need to find out the name and the mobile number. Now if you recall the VLOOKUP example, if you try to write VLOOKUP, why VLOOKUP? Because the common link is placed vertically. Okay, that's fine with me. But if I go and try to look for the value, lookup value, the first problem that strikes me is in VLOOKUP the common link that is placed vertically in the table array must be the first column of the chosen table array for VLOOKUP to work. Now if I do that, you will clearly notice that in this table array I cannot go and retrieve name, because VLOOKUP will only give you values based on the table array chosen. Now in that case you are thinking, why not choose the entire 4 or maybe even 5 columnar data? But wait, if I do that, VLOOKUP, I violate the first principle of VLOOKUP, which says the common link must be placed in the leftmost or the first column of the table array. If I continue to write VLOOKUP, let's see what happens. Column index number, so 1, 2 and 3, third column is where I want the answer from. Or is it the second? Yeah, it is the second because I want name. Okay, 2. Column index number 2 provided, and since this is not a slab, I'm looking for an exact match. I'll be choosing the false and pressing the tab key. You'll notice no answer. This would have been possible had this ID code been in the first column. Now you may very well say, in most of the cases I have done it this way, that we cut this data, this entire the column that is blinking, and just place it before the beginning of the first cell and saying insert cut cells, in which case of course VLOOKUP will work because the first column now belongs to the common link. But hey, sometimes when you work with different files, file may be shared with different colleagues on the LAN, and you are not free to simply cut and paste the different cells or columns as you would want. The structure has to be remaining the same as what everyone is following. So keeping that challenge in mind, keeping that handicap in mind, how do I then retrieve the name based on ID code? Now this reverse lookup can be done with the help of a combination of two formulas, that's called index and match. Now before I delve into index, or let's say match, and the combination of it, one quick example in a very basic level. Let's say I am choosing a group of cells, I'm just keeping them certain borders, and I'm just randomly filling them with either alpha or numeric values. Alright. Now at this point in time, if I ask you that row number 3, column number 3, what is it exhibiting? In the selected small mini notional chessboard, what does row number 3 and column number 3 represent? You would say it is going to be the answer 3, isn't it? Yes. Now the way your brains have worked, you have first looked at the chessboard area, then you went on to select row number 3 and column number 3 to give me the answer 3. Now this exactly methodology is being followed by the formula index, and we'll right now see how does index give me the answer. So let's say if I write index, it asks me the first thing, that is the array. Now array is nothing but the mini chessboard in our case, so I'm choosing the chessboard. Just like VLOOKUP, any array that I choose, I must press F4, comma, that's to fix the entire area that you have chosen. Now if you give row number 3 and then column number 3, after which no other options come up, so I close the bracket, you'll notice the answer also is 3. In this case, if you had changed this row number to 1, which is now presenting in this format, that's row number 1 and column number 3, which is 11. So this is the ultra basic form of index. It asks for 3 things. One is the notional chessboard, as I say it, row number, no doubt, and column number. So keeping these three things in mind, let's now proceed with the real life application. Now if I try to attempt this problem and get the 8736 owner out, let's find out how. It asks for the chessboard, so do I select that? I do. The entire array. As soon as I do that, I press F4, comma. Now let's say in this chessboard, if you had to retrieve this name Walker, you would have accessed 1 2 3 4 fifth row, fifth row, and which column number? Yes, it is 2 that you are pointing out to. So row number 5, column number 2 would have given you the same number, Walker Terence. Now the problem is, this is okay for the one name, but what if you have multiple names? You would have to change the row number and column number for every name. Now I want to automate these two exercises, that is, they must look inside the ID code and the heading to get the appropriate value. So let me get back inside the cells once again. Index, array, that's entire chessboard chosen, and I press F4 comma to lock it. Next, now I am going to delegate this task of counting the row number and column number to match. Now I want one row number to be counted and another column number. So one match, I'm just enclosing the brackets, not writing the parameters. This one match will be dedicated to row number. Another match will be dedicated to column number, and that will be the end of the story. So this is how the structure looks: chessboard, row number, column number, always index match match. Okay, now let us find out how would this match work out. Now always and always, this is how the structure shall be followed when I'm using index match match. That is, if you notice carefully, the match is being substituted in terms of row and column number, that is 2 match formula. And secondly, if I may optimize the screen, the red bars that you're locating, that represents the entire chessboard that has been chosen by index. Now 2 match, which I refer to junior 1 and junior 2, they must be in the sequence as given. So first one being the green, that's the vertical common link, and the second one blue. Now how does it correlate to our example? Let me get back to our example. So match, the first match will be looking up for that common link which is given vertically. In our case, it is the ID code. So lookup value, I cannot choose it from here. Why? Because I want to find out this particular person's details. So look up for this code, that's the lookup value, comma, lookup array. Now remember from our VLOOKUP with match formula, we had to make sure junior follows senior. So I'm not going to choose it this way. I am going to choose the full starting till the end. Junior follows senior. That's the lookup array. So I press F4 to lock the entire range, comma, and lastly the option says 0 for exact match. So that completes my first match, which looks for the ID code, then tries to find out that in the column that is given vertically, and then 0 for exact match. Now the next match shall be dedicated towards counting the column number. So 1 2, since I want the answer from 2, which is name, how do I locate this number 2 name? It must look up for something that is given also in the headers. So lookup value name, since I want name. Okay, lookup array. Now I cannot choose the entire thing. Why? Because match is a junior formula, as we noticed in the level 1 VLOOKUP with match video. We would be restricting the selection to either one part of the column or one part of the row. So the second match will always be dedicated towards this header. So that's the lookup array for the next match, F4, comma, and 0 for exact match. So this is how it looks. This is the senior part, that's the blue that is blinking. The first match dedicated to the common link that is given vertically, and the next match dedicated to the common link that is given horizontally in my table array. If I press enter, that is what I get. Now if I just want to test it out, so if I say 8820, it should change the number. 8820 Sally Adams. Let me press Ctrl Z. So that was basic index match match. But wait, if I try to drag this formula down or maybe right, I get NA as answer. Now why that could be so? Let's try to find out. If I simply copy and paste to one cell, you will notice as I open that cell, the second cell, The index is choosing the right chessboard. The to match formula is also right, but what's not right is that somehow in place of the name this walker has been chosen. Now that shouldn't have been so. Why? Because match should look for the word name to find out which column is it in. So why is this turning to D4? Because in the first formula I did not place the dollars before 3. I want that the reference 3 should be maintained for all the formulas when they are referring to the word name. So I go to the cell and I fix this 3 part. So I put dollars before 3 precisely. Why? Because I do not want the reference to move down to 4 or 5 or 6. Enter. Let me see if the change has given me any difference. Oh yes, I'm getting the correct answer for the rest. Why? Because now everyone is now referring to D3, which is the word name. So the moment matches look for this word name, it then tries to count 1, 2, it gives the answer to 2 to index, and that index then derives the answer. But wait, if I try to copy paste it right, will it give me the correct answer? Let me find out. Something's not right. Let's see what that could be. The best way is to audit any formula, double click on the cell and look at the colored borders. So the chessboard looks fine to me. The to match formula selection looks fine to me. That's the purple and the green one. But somehow this walker has been again chosen. Why is that? In the previous formula you had chosen the ID code. In the next formula, as you copy paste it, this ID code selection moves down to walker. So I do not want that to happen. So I say, let me go to match. This D4 should have been C4. So let me correct that in the initial formula. C4, it should be able to jump down C5, C6, C7, C8, but it should not be able to jump from column C to D because ID code is only present in column C. So I fixed the C part to ensure C is locked. So I put dollars before C. That's the second minor change I have done, and that if I do and drag it down and paste it right should give me the correct answers for all. Wonderful, isn't it? And the best part is if you put age as heading, correct spelling of age, you get the age. If you put gender, if you put let's say age out here, that also works fine with us. So match looks for the word age and then recounts the column index number and gets you the answer from there. So let me have a quick look before we end this video. That is, how did I write this index? So index, first things first, we'll talk about the second set of formula in the next video, but as of now array asks me to choose the chessboard, which I will gladly use F4 upon to lock and fix it. Then the to match formula would come into picture. So now I write the first match, which should be dedicated to that common link which is given vertically. So look up for this code. That I will do, but I'll also remember that to fix the C part so that it doesn't jump to D. So I put a dollar before C. So look for that code, and lookup array shall be junior follow senior the vertical way. F4 comma 0 bracket close comma another match, and this shall be dedicated to the column number location. So match, look for that common thing that is given horizontally. So the common thing that is given horizontally is the word name. So I look up for the word name, and I'll be careful with the dollar part here as well because I do not want this word name to move down. So I put dollar before 3. I'm happy if it moves to the next column, that's the age. So I'm not keeping the D fixed, only keeping the row reference, that is 3 fixed. So look up for the word name where the heading junior follows senior. So this is not the correct selection. This also is not the correct selection. Lookup array has to be junior follow senior, where the senior is beginning. Let me begin from there. So F4 comma 0 bracket closed. You will notice the number of brackets, the pairs has not been closed yet because this is yet to be closed. So I close one more bracket, and that is how I get an answer which can be copy pasted down and right. And if you want to give a little jazz to this entire model, you can quickly add a data validation, which we have already done in level 1. Data validation, allow a list, the source shall come from these headings. So now if you change this to let's say ID code,